If you want the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 59, well then there's an easy way to help boost that. Hit the like button on this video because I want to three-peat more than anyone else, and I hope you do too. So go down there. It takes 2 seconds. Hit the like button for good vibes, and hopefully the Chiefs will be three-peating in 2024, and Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans will be the Chiefs' third in a row. Let's get hypothetical in today's Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Jace Andrews. And let's say the Chiefs do not take a wide receiver in round 1. Who are some of the top names wide receiver-wise in round 2? Well, the rumors have been flying that the potential for the Chiefs to take a tackle in round 1 seem to be the likely answer. However, wide receiver in round 2 may be worth round 1 because this is the best wide receiver draft I have seen maybe ever. I mean, be quite honest with you. This is an amazing depth-wise, top-heavy-wise. This wide receiver entire depth of this draft class is absolutely insane. And I am very excited to see who the Chiefs actually get and come out with. I really cannot wait. And hopefully it's somebody that is going to push the agenda in this wide receiver room. Before we get going on 5 guys that I could see potentially drafted by the Chiefs in round 2, name your favorite wide receiver in this year's draft. If it's somebody the Chiefs could draft, cool. If it's somebody that maybe the Chiefs have no shot at getting, like Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, that's also fine. I just want to know who you think is the best one or your favorite one in the 2024 NFL Draft. Name it down in the comment section down below. I'm looking, so I want to see what your favorite is. Let's go here with our first wide receiver that has been rumored, or not rumored, but looking like he will be available in round number 2. Keon Coleman. Funny enough, this guy should have been around 1. And so all I have to say for Keon is, oh, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, this guy was an obvious round 1 pick not 2 months ago. 2 months ago. Now we're sitting here talking about him being available at pick number 64. I mean, I've done a couple mock drafts the past couple days. He's been there at 64. I mean, it'd be a perfect fit. This guy had 658 yards this past year at Florida State after transferring from Michigan State, the Spartans. 11 touchdowns, 2 drops with the Seminoles, 13.2 on the average. And Keon, he has been one of those guys that just has the athletic ability. However, his separation just wasn't ever there with the Florida State Seminoles. But doesn't mean that he can't have first-round acquisitions. He was projected to be that. Earlier this offseason, not even last year, he was the coveted wide receiver in the transfer portal, went to Florida State, had an amazing year there with Jordan Travis, and he was a projected first-round pick, potentially a top 20 pick for a portion of time right after the college football season ended and the NFL season ended. So it's something that we could definitely keep a watch of because overall, Keon Coleman is somebody that I think fits the way the Chiefs want to run their offense really, really well. He's got the athletic ability. The prowess is there. It's just about getting a little bit better on the separation and, honestly, in some ways, the football IQ. I mean, his athletic ability is certainly there. It's just kind of the little intangibles that haven't exactly shown up just yet, but what better way to learn those from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? I mean, that would be a great place to go and just kind of learn from the game's best. The second name I want to talk about is Jaylen McMillan, Washington wide receiver number 3, behind Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk. McMillan actually did have a top 30 visit with the Kansas City Chiefs previously in the past couple weeks, so he is already familiar with Kansas City, and Kansas City is already familiar with him. Brett Veach seems to really enjoy the playoff Husky wide receiver. McMillan was a 1,000-yard receiver back in 2022. And again, obviously this year, 559, which is still very, very good. You have to consider, though, Rome Odunze was there this year. Jalen Polk was there. And McMillan still played very well. And I think he was one of the most underrated guys in the entire college football playoff landscape. Forget the 14. Right. 470 in 2021, 1 reception for 16 yards in 2020. He fits the vibe of what the Chiefs want to do. He's very kind of agile, and given this wide receiver room really needs at least a wide receiver 3, Don't know what's happening with Rashee Rice right now. A suspension could be possible. We're just kind of waiting for the answers on that. And so thinking in that mindset, you have Brown, Toney, and Moore as your wide receivers 1, 2, and 3, and then Justin Watson as your wide receiver 4. So you really, really, really need a wide receiver. Like I said, McMillan does fit in well because honestly, Brett Veach and the way he likes to draft wide receivers, it's more about the way you can have the ball, have your hands on the ball, and then go about with that. McMillan was great at yak yards. He was great at being able to get the ball in his hands and kind of make people miss. And that's similar to what Rashee Rice was at SMU, is get the ball in his hands, and he'll find a way to make it out of there. And so I think we look at McMillan. He has a lot of the same assets that the Chiefs have enjoyed in previous wide receivers that they have taken. He has a bunch of different intuitives that the Chiefs really like to have in terms of speed. The height is kind of not there, but we've seen the Chiefs kind of like the smaller receivers in a lot of different facets. So especially since they already had a top 30 visit, that is something that I'm certainly keeping an eye on. You know what I'm also keeping my eye on? Game time prices, because game time is the best way to buy last-minute tickets. I'm telling you, you're not going to find a better deal. They got flash deals, zone deals, and I'm always keeping my eye, but game time, they've got the best eye for tickets. You shouldn't have to worry about having to buy tickets to your next big event. I know there's a lot of ticketing apps out there with frustrating experiences and things that you just don't need to worry about. Well, guess what? Game time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. As you can see, their app is super user-friendly, and the Royals, they got the Orioles coming in town, and it's going to be a fun series. The O's, man, they're a pretty good young team. The Royals, though, they're a pretty good young team. MJ Melendez, a couple of bombs in the opening series at Kauffman. You got Bobby Witt Jr., who looks absolutely incredible as well after signing that big contract extension in Kansas City. Man, it's a fun team on both sides of the equation. Go check them out. Tickets are relatively cheap. You can get the $20 off your first purchase with the code CHATSPORTS. That way, you can go to this game and you can spend the rest of your money on hot dogs, on drinks. You're going to have a fun time at the ballpark. Bring the whole family. It's going to be a good time, or heck, you just want to go by yourself? Trust me, I've gone to about 15 baseball games in the past year just by myself using Game Time because the tickets were so cheap. I got to go there. I got to have a hot dog. It was freaking awesome. And you can do the same exact thing. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Then you can go to the redeem code section and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price guarantee. Number 3 on my day 2 wide receiver targets, Xavier Legette. Now, Xavier Legette is very much a guy that I've seen in the comment section. I've seen on Twitter. I've seen on the media. He is somebody that people really enjoy. Now, 71 receptions for 1,200 yards. South Carolina with Fitz Rattler as quarterback. That's not too shabby if you ask me. 7 touchdowns as well. I really do think he may be the best option in round 2 if you go the wide receiver route in round 2. They have not had him at a top 30 visit, but that's also not to say that they're not going to draft him. Sometimes those are just to make sure that they either don't like somebody or something like that. So a lot of different things you can go on with that. Really good, not just this past season, though. I mean, had some, kind of coming up with it. Had 7 receptions in 113 in 2020, 8 for 63, 18 for 167, but 3 touchdowns in 2022. And then just absolutely exploded onto the scene this year. 1,255 yards, 7 touchdowns, an average of 17.7 and 71 receptions. I see a lot of positives here. There's a lot of positives, and I think that Xavier here can be a very, very good option for the Chiefs in day 2. Honestly, like I said, I think if you're going to pick wide receiver in round 2, I think it's Xavier. I think you're going to get him. I think you're going to add him to the squad, and I think he's going to fit in very, very well. And if you've heard him talk, man, I think he's going to fit in great in Kansas City. If you happen to hear his pro day interview, it's awesome. It's awesome. You should go check it out on Twitter. Would you like Kansas City to take Xavier Legette in round 2? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. What are we thinking here for this one? I'm kind of curious to let me know what you're thinking. I've seen the comments talking about you liking him. So now it's your time. Y for yes if you would like to see him in round 2. In for no if you're thinking, nah, Chase, I'm good. Let's go to the 4th guy on my list. Tez Walker out of the University of North Carolina. Devontez, well, he had an interesting college career. Let's just say that. Had the whole transfer portal thing happen and the missing a couple games this year because the NCAA declined letting him play after transferring from Kent State to the University of North Carolina. However, his stats across both colleges are pretty dang good if you look at 2022 and 2023. Nearly 1,000 yards at Kent State, 11 touchdowns. Did have 7 drops. Obviously, that's something that I do not want to see in Kansas City. You've seen enough drops. But guess what? Helped that in 2023. Only played in 8 games, obviously due to the NCAA saying, yeah, we're not going to let you play. Still, 8 games, 41 receptions, 699 yards, 17 on the average, and 7 touchdowns. Nearly a touchdown per game right there. I will say this may be a bit of a risk. Why? Well, you haven't gotten to see him play too much. 12 games is great, but then you go to play 8 games, and now you're expecting this guy to come onto the scene and play 17 games. And especially because of the Chiefs situation, whoever gets drafted in the wide receiver position will most likely be a starter week 1. I mean, he's going to be on the field constantly. So there's the aspect of, okay, we need to realize that whoever we take, you're going to be somebody we're going to rely on. You're not just going to be sitting on the bench. We need you to immediately come in and contribute. And I think he can do that, although it is a little bit of a risk. I think it's a higher reward than risk. So that risk to reward ratio is in favor of the Chiefs. The 5th option is one that also has a top 30 visit with the Kansas City Chiefs, and one that I actually really like at the University of Central Florida, Javon Baker. Former Alabama wide receiver commit and went to play in Alabama. He actually had a couple of top 30 visits, both the Patriots, the Texans, and the Chiefs. So honestly, given the fact that he's already had 3, obviously you can see at the end there, teams feel he can play right away and like his catching radius. 32 and a 1/4 inch arms. Wowza. That's something right there. Over 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards actually plus in UCF this past year. First year in the Big 12, by the way. So facing some elite caliber defenses. 21.9 on the average, 7 touchdowns. 6 drops, again. I try to pick guys who don't have a lot of drop problems, which is why maybe this is something that I like the way he plays, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm willing to risk that. 52 receptions. As I did mention, he was originally playing with Alabama, the Crimson Tide. 2020, 2 receptions, 15 yards. 2021, 7 with 101. Then transferred to play at UCF, having 796 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then obviously this year in the Power 5, over 1,000, 1,100 yards, 21.9 average, which is absolutely insane, first of all. And then 7 touchdowns, which is also great there. So I think it's honestly a very, very good option. But just like I said earlier at the beginning of this video, there's lots of good options at wide receiver. It's not like there is a method to the madness here. Obviously, we know the capability of the mind of Brett Veach. He has consistently come in here and made it known that, guess what? I am going to make sure that I get the best guys available in the draft, wherever that might be. We've seen the drafts he's had. We've seen the people that he has been able to take and make them into amazing players. Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th-round pick. So I'm excited to see what he has in store for us this year, and we'll have to wait and see on draft night what, or maybe who, the Chiefs will pick in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd rounds. And either way, we're going to have a video on every single draft pick right here on the Chiefs Report. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Like I said, if you want the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 59, well then, hit the like button. So I want 590 likes. You made it to the end of the video, and you're liking the video. So, hey, that's just the rules. We appreciate you, as always, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out.